Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Birdie and this is my very first episode of Flosstube. I have been cross-stitching for a little over a month. But before that scares you off and you're thinking, what does she know about anything? Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am first and foremost an artist and a creator. I was an only child growing up, and so I always had to find ways to entertain myself. I loved to draw and make crafts. My grandmother was a knitter and a crocheter, and she taught me a lot of that while I was growing up as well. I didn't really super get into it until I was a little bit older, but I kind of had a foundational knowledge of some fiber crafts when I was a child. When I was a teenager and in the Girl Scouts, we took a trip to the Juliette Gordon Low House in Savannah, Georgia, and I learned how to embroider there, and I loved doing it. It was so much fun. It was one of my favorite crafts that I ever learned. I got really into knitting when I was in college, and I got into making like hats and scarves and then little like toys and things like that, which was a lot of fun, and I did that for many years. While I was in college, I studied art history, but I also took courses in all of the different disciplines from painting and photography and sculpture, printmaking, just learned a whole lot about a lot of things. And then after college, I became an art teacher. I taught middle school art for 4 years and then high school art for 2 years. And I really had to learn a lot about different types of tools and materials to be a successful art teacher and to teach my students all kinds of different things. And that did also include some fiber arts in there as well. For my own personal artwork, my main media of choice is colored pencils, and I draw specifically birds. These are some examples of some drawings that I have created. I have a graduate certificate in natural science illustration. I am also a bird watcher, so clearly I love birds, and you'll see that a little bit through my cross-stitching journey into the future. I just really enjoy bird iconography and symbolism and things like that. But as a bird watcher, I have seen over 500 individual species of birds across 4 different countries, and I plan on adding many more to that list over the years. I love to read. If you can't tell by my bookshelves behind me, I have lots of books here. I mostly read fantasy. I love a good high fantasy. Give me an interesting magic system or a language or just really something interesting going on with that. Some of my favorite books include Lord of the Rings, The Sword of Kaigen, Dungeon Crawler Carl. Those are just some examples of some things that I enjoy reading. I also really like playing video games. I love Zelda and Baldur's Gate and Expedition 33, Animal Crossing, Pokemon. Like, I like story games, I like open world games, but I do also like, like some of those games that are really nostalgic from my childhood as well. Fun fact about me is that I am on a roller derby team. I joined about 6 months ago, so I'm still pretty new. I'm hoping to play in my first bout this October, which is just about 2 months from now, and I'm really excited about it. I'm currently recovering from an injury, which has set me back just a little bit, but it's so much fun to get to roller skate and push people around, and I just love it so much. One of my main hobbies is playing Magic the Gathering. It's one of the nerdiest things about me for sure. My boyfriend got me into it a little over a year and a half ago, and something about me is that when I become interested in something, I cannot casually like something. I become obsessive about it, which is one of the reasons why I'm here on YouTube talking about cross-stitching after only doing it for a month and a half. But I love Magic the Gathering so much. It is just the most fun card game I've ever played, and I do have history from my childhood of playing trading card games. I just love building decks and talking to people about Magic and playing Magic with people. In fact, I love talking about it so much I have another social media account in which I talk about Magic, so you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at thegoose.mother if you are ever interested in Magic the Gathering content, if you're a nerd like me. Some people think that this is one of the coolest things about me, but I live in a tiny house, like an actual tiny house that you would see on HGTV or something. It is 397 square feet, and it is one of those tiny homes on wheels, so in theory I could move it wherever I want to, but for now we live in a tiny house community with about 75 other tiny homes here. I live here with my boyfriend and our dog and cat, and it's awesome. Like, honestly, like, it's not hard. You can see I own a lot of stuff. and between the two of us, it works out really well. So you might see more of the tiny house in future videos. It's really great. I love living here. But now let's talk about what you're really actually here for, and that is cross-stitching. So about a year ago, I wanted to try my hand at cross-stitching, and I made this shirt here. So this is a chicken from Stardew Valley, another video game that I really like. This was a very humbling experience. I did not know how to read a chart. I did not know that all of my stitches are supposed to face the same direction. I really struggled a lot. I made a lot of mistakes throughout the process, as you can see. Overall, I do like the finished project, and I do wear this shirt a lot, but it was indeed very discouraging, and I was like, okay, maybe cross-stitch isn't for me. So I packed all of the supplies away and didn't look at them for almost an entire year, until a few weeks ago when I woke up one Sunday and just thought to myself, I feel like crafting today. What do I want to do? And so I opened up my packed away scrap supplies and was like, maybe I should give cross-stitch another try. I think I would really like doing that again. So I started doing some research on what patterns I maybe would want to do, and I just wasn't really finding anything that I wanted to do that day. There just wasn't anything really speaking to me. So while doing some research, I discovered Flosscross. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Like, you can upload anything to it and it will make a pattern for you. Like, that's so genius. So I was thinking a lot about like maybe some photos that I had that I wanted to do, or just something that I wanted to upload and create a pattern for. And while I was kind of looking around and thinking, I was like, wait, I want to do a bird. What are some bird art that I really like? And I have this beautiful copy of John James Audubon's Birds of America. And I was like, I think that this would be a really cool idea to cross-stitch some of his paintings. While I do recognize that John James Audubon is historically not a cool guy, I do appreciate the impact that he has made on the world of wildlife illustration and bird and nature conservation. So while flipping through my copy of Birds of America, I decided I wanted to attempt what is probably one of his most iconic paintings, and that is the American flamingo. I just think the shape of this flamingo is really incredible. I like the pose that he put it in, so this was the image that I chose to upload to Flosscross. Now again, knowing nothing about cross-stitching or anything, working with Flosscross was definitely a challenge in and of itself. Trying to keep it really simple, all I had was this plastic mesh canvas to work on. It's a 10 mesh canvas, so my size was pretty limiting, and also the amount of colors that I had was pretty limiting also, because I bought one of those cheap boxes of just like starter threads. It's not even DMC. There aren't any color labels on it whatsoever. It's just a basic starter set of embroidery floss that would probably be better for friendship bracelets than it would be cross-stitching, but again, I was working with what I had. Pretty quickly into the process of stitching this flamingo, I was obsessed. I loved it. I was having so much fun. It was so great. It is the perfect, like, mind activated, but also repetitive enough to not have to be super, super, super focused into it. And I was able to, you know, play music in the background or have a show going on in the background. And I don't know, I just was really loving this process. I don't know, it just really was clicking with me. This is about as far as I have gotten on the flamingo, and it is probably as far as I will take it in this specific instance, simply because I started off using this plastic mesh and then I graduated to using fabric, which I obviously like a lot better than using this plastic mesh. I think it has its purpose, but not for what I was trying to do with it. So I think in the future I may revisit a pattern for the American flamingo, but do it a little bit more justice than how I have done it now, with better colors and with a better stitch count to make it look better. But I do think that this was a really interesting learning experience for me to have and get started with it. So I'm not going to discredit it for that. It was still a really cool process. When I started cross-stitching, I really thought I would be one of those people who would be a monogamous stitcher, and I very quickly discovered that couldn't be me. I am diagnosed with ADHD, and it just, when my attention gets pulled, my attention gets pulled. So here are some other projects that I am also working on at this time. So one of them is this Torchic Pokemon Sprite card. So this is a project that I had the idea of, maybe I want to do all of the Gen 3, my favorite series of Pokemon. Maybe I wanted to do all of them on their corresponding trading cards. This ended up being so much harder than I thought it was going to be. Stitching on a trading card is not easy at all. It was really frustrating, in fact. So I don't know if that project is going to come to fruition, but I did go to a game store and get a bunch of basic energy cards. Then I have almost enough for all of the Gen 3 Pokemon, but like I said, I don't know if that's gonna happen, actually, because it was really hard. Maybe one day I would like to do the epic Pokemon project. I think that this one's really cool, and I actually feel like this would be more attainable than doing like all of the Pokemon on their cards, which I know is crazy, but maybe one day I'll do this, but I don't know if I will continue to do this. I am about 42% complete on this grooming cat cross stitch pattern that I just lovingly call butt licker. This is a pattern that I picked up from Etsy from Gilded Moth Patterns. That is a recreation from an illuminated manuscript painting of a cat. I love some art historical references, so this really caught my eye, and it has been a lot of fun to stitch, and I look forward to finishing this hopefully before the end of 2026. So that was a really fun project to get going. But the project right now that has been claiming all of my attention is When Earth Meets Sky by 13 Chariots. Yes, I am aware that I am insane for picking an 82,000 stitch project as one of my first projects as a cross stitcher, like not even 2 months into this hobby, and I'm already starting this project. But I am loving it so much. I'm a little over 3% through with it, and this pattern is just gorgeous, and I don't know, it's just so much fun to do. I do think it has a lot to do with the fact that it is just a one color pattern, and so it just stitches really quickly. I've been having to do a lot of travel recently for both work and personal reasons, and I've been in a lot of cars and I've been on a lot of airplanes, and it's just been wonderful to stitch up, like despite it being an absolutely massive piece of fabric. It's like 26 inches by 26 inches. It has been so wonderful to work on. I have about a little over 2,000 stitches completed on this project, and like I said, I've just been having the best time with it. So really looking forward to making more progress on this one, hoping to take less than a year to complete it. Current estimations are looking like September 2027, but I'm hoping to get it to be less than that. So future projects I have planned, going back to my Birds of America John James Audubon plans, I have several patterns ready to go with that. I have a Cayenne Tern, Magnificent Frigate Bird, and Common Golden Eye all patterned out and ready to start whenever I'm ready to start them. I'm probably going to start the Tern pretty soon because it's been sitting in my brain recently a lot, and so I want to kind of scratch that itch before it fades away. I also really want to do some Long Dog sampler patterns. Oh my god, they're so beautiful. And clearly I like very large, monochromatic, complex patterns, and Long Dog just hits all of those marks. So I can't decide which one I want to do. I'm really kind of indecisive between about like 5 of them, but I think I might purchase one of those as a reward for finishing When Earth Meets Sky, because I do have the issue of buying a pattern and then starting that immediately and not working on what I should be working on. I feel like that's probably pretty relatable based on other Flosstube videos that I have seen, but I really want to try them out. So if you have done a Long Dog sampler, let me know which one you did, why you liked it. I don't know, I need opinions on which one to pick for my first one. So I know and I am fully aware that I am brand new at cross stitching. Like I haven't even been doing this for a full 2 months. So I'm probably not going to be the channel that you are going to be coming to for tips and tricks and advice and how-to tutorials and things like that. At least not yet. But the reason why I wanted to create this channel is because I only know 1 or 2 other people in my personal circle who cross stitch. So I really wanted to connect with other people who also cross stitch, and especially other newbies in this community. While I do enjoy watching other floss tubers and their videos, what I'm finding is that I sometimes struggle to relate with what they are sharing because they maybe have an absolutely massive floss or fabric collection, or they have been stitching for 5, 10, 15, 20 years or something like that. And I'm kind of like, I'm looking for someone who's a little bit more along my level. Like I'd like to be able to learn and grow with that person. So maybe if you are also a newbie to cross stitching, like maybe we can, kind of learn and grow and improve upon this together. And I think that it's also a really neat way for me to document my progress over time by having these videos. So hopefully that's something that you might enjoy as a viewer. So if you are in need of some new Flosstube videos to watch while you are working on your projects, maybe you are new to cross stitch or you like birds as much as I do, thank you so much for giving me a try. I'd love to go ahead and get the conversation and the learning going with you. So if you have watched this far, again, thank you so much for watching. But if you wouldn't mind, put into the comments as a piece of advice or something that you wish you knew when you first started cross stitching. Maybe it's like a little life hack, or maybe it's a tool that you have purchased years later that you're like, oh my gosh, this would have made my life so much easier a long time ago. It's just anything that you think could be a helpful piece of advice to a newer cross stitcher, and maybe you can help someone else out besides just me in the process. So I hope to see you again in a future video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you don't have a piece of advice for the comments, let me know what your favorite bird is. Thank y'all so much, and I'll see you next time.